The Philadelphia Eagles are the real deal and are Super Bowl contenders. How did they go from 9-8 and a first-round blowout in the playoffs to being the last remaining undefeated team in the NFL? Let's take a look at the moves that got them here and what's different this time around. Like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Everyone is well aware of the offensive leap that the team has made, so let's start on defense, which I believe is an underrated improvement on this team. Last season, they were 10th in the league in yards allowed, but 18th in the league in points allowed. Middle of the pack in an important category. That gets even worse when you look at the fact that they were 26th in takeaways last year. Not only were they giving up points, but they weren't creating extra possessions for themselves. A lot of times you'll see defenses that are high risk, high reward, and they'll end up allowing a lot of points and yards, but have a lot of turnovers. That was not the case here. Looking at this current team, before I give you the stats, let's look at the new additions to the team. They signed Hassan Reddick from the Panthers, and he's been an immediate star. He's currently 8th in the league in sacks. The Eagles also signed James Bradbury in free agency, and he's picked right up where he left off when he was in Carolina. He's en route to a Pro Bowl season with 2 interceptions already and several pass breakups. They drafted Jordan Davis out of Georgia with their first-round pick, and he's been a decent contributor, especially in the run game next to Fletcher Cox. The last big move they made on defense was trading for C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Saints for a couple of late-round picks. He's got an interception this season and has played nearly 100% of snaps at a key position. All of those additions have made huge impacts because they went from 10th in the league in yards allowed up to 6th, from 18th in the league in points allowed up to 7th, and most importantly, from 26th in takeaways up to tied for 1st. If absolutely nothing changed on offense, they would still likely be 3-2 at worst right now. But don't you worry, the team made a rather large addition on that side of the ball as well. Trading for A.J. Brown was probably the biggest move of draft weekend by any team. A.J. Brown, with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, was legitimately a top 15 receiver in the game, still on his rookie deal. The Eagles, and probably some other teams, saw that value and made a move. They knew they were rolling with Jalen Hurts, more on him in a minute, and needed to give him as many weapons as possible so they would know for sure what they have. The addition of Brown allowed Devonta Smith to essentially move to the 2, as well as operate out of the slot and not garner all the attention. He already had a great rookie campaign with 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. As the number 2 option through 5 games, he's already at 350 yards and 1 touchdown. The Brown signing helps the run game as well because teams have to respect his deep route running, plus he's a great blocker on the outside. Great roster move all around. Jalen Hurts. Last year, in 15 games, he had 3,149 yards, 16 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, as well as rushed for 784 yards and 10 touchdowns. Accounting for 26 touchdowns compared to 9 interceptions isn't bad at all. To me, his biggest statistical downside was his yards per attempt at 7.3 and his completion percentage at just 61%. All of this would still have him as a top 20 quarterback. He was by no means a bottom third of the league starter, and that's not the story I'm looking to tell. However, his improvement from one year to the next is comparable to that of Josh Allen's from 2020 to 2021 so far. If you project out his numbers from the first 5 games through the rest of the year, he'll end up with 4,620 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Not anything amazing, but his completion percentage is up to 67%, and his yards per attempt is at 8.5. The rushing numbers, though, are outstanding. If we projected over 17 games, he would end up with 905 yards with 21 rushing touchdowns. This would beat the current single-season record for quarterbacks of 14 by Cam Newton and be just 7 shy of the overall rushing touchdown record of 28 by LaDainian Tomlinson. I suspect that his rushing touchdown numbers will come back down to earth a little bit, but would expect him to beat that 14 number, and I'd also bet his passing touchdown numbers end up somewhere closer to 20 and 25. But his efficiency and his ability to take care of the ball have made this team a true threat to put up big numbers quickly. Nick Sirianni, in his 2nd season, has figured out how to make this sports car go. He's my vote for Coach of the Year, and even though I'm a Washington fan, I do have Hurts and Brown on my fantasy team, so let's keep it rolling. Thanks so much for watching. How good do you think this team can be? Give me your final record predictions in the comments. Please consider liking the video and subscribing, and I'll see y'all next time.